All right, let's get her going. All right, welcome in. Hey, Waffle, fishing? Hell yeah, love to see it. Hopefully you get that shark mount soon, because it's really cool. Welcome in, folks. We're playing some more Great Ace Attorney today. Starting the final case number 5. So we're close to finishing this series, which is pretty rad. Well, I guess, yeah, series, not franchise. Although I've played all the mainline games of the franchise, so I guess I am technically finishing the franchise. But I guess the franchise includes the side games that I haven't finished. Does anyone know Cantonese? Matt, if anyone would know Cantonese, do you think it would be me? Between the two of us, I'm pretty sure you know more Cantonese than me. Pretty solid guess. And I don't think Waffle knows, but that I know less about. That I can say with less certainty. Anyways, yeah, we're on case 5, which is pretty exciting. In other news, I saw my doctor today and I'm on new meds. I started some stimulants. So, if you're wondering why I am weirder than normal, that would be why. Apparently the effects are not supposed to kick in until like 3 days after starting them. We'll see. But anyways, let's get into it. Why and yes, hello Matt. How's it going? Yes, new meds. A reality I'm sure you're all the more familiar with than me. There's always Google Translate, but that doesn't have Cantonese pronunciation, only Mandarin. Why do you ask? What are you trying to figure out? I should really mark down like where my camera is supposed to be, like pixel number wise, so I know where to put it. Because I'm always wrong at where it goes. Always, constantly wrong. You tried Deep L. What the hell is Deep L? I need to get the pronunciation of corn. Okay? My question still stands. Just, the topic is now different. Why do you need to know that? Deep L translator. Oh, is that what it's... I was dead certain I was setting myself up for a D's nuts adjacent joke with Deep L. I was like, it's a loss, but it's a more intense loss. It's a more embarrassing loss. I'm taking a deep L by answering this question. That is what I had assumed. But I was curious to know what the answer was, but in fact you were being genuine. Pronounced Sukmai. Go on. Sukmai nuts! Woo! Yeah, there it is. I'm not getting it this run? Ah, that's a shame. You got me. You got me. There's no rim shot anymore, but you know, there's a rim shot in my heart. All right. Didn't get the spec in Area 1. Someone came to chat with that, and as a Cantonese speaker, I laughed for the next half hour. Yeah, I wasn't sure. It's like, don't you speak Cantonese? But I didn't know enough to say that definitively, so I was like, I'll just answer the question genuinely. Oh, there's no intro cutscene. Okay. Interesting. This is also a different starting theme than is normal. It's much more intense. Alright, well, we're getting off to a crazy start. 3rd November, 9:14 a.m., the Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. So, the time's finally come. Today, we unravel everything. I'll be counting on your support more than ever today, Miss Usada. Miss Usada? Oh! Fuck. Oh no! Well, what's the matter, Mr. Naruhodo? This where the orgy happens? Yeah, that's actually a secret ending. I don't think we're gonna get it this run. Nothing? I was just saying that I'll be relying on your support today, but I'm so sorry, of course. I know I can be rather incompetent at times, but I shan't let you down. Would you mind helping me to my feet then? Oh dear, I'm really very sorry. Ooh, they said this stuff causes dizziness, and you know what? I understand. May cause dizziness. Yeah, I feel it. I'm feeling it. Just looked at my score, I didn't even hit 500 in Area 1. Oof. Sato-san isn't her usual self at all. That's hardly surprising, I suppose. She just found out that her father is the partner of a world-famous detective, not to mention. Ah, good morning, sir. Is it Barrick? Yep. Lord Van Zieks. Thank you for all your efforts yesterday. What? Did I hear that correctly? What? Oh, no, nothing. Just, I hope we can clear things up today. Deep L did not work, but thanks. I really can't make this Maine. Hey, Maine. I really can't make this man out. His face says I hate you, but his words are almost jovial today. That is a deep L. In fact, he hasn't been very Reaper-like at all since this all began yesterday. Lord Van Zieks isn't the Reaper, Mr. Naruhodo. Good point. The Reaper. I suppose in hindsight, I shouldn't have allowed that misconception to go unchallenged. Huh? That's how some days work, Rinosuke. That's true. It was my tacit acceptance of that pseudonym. My failure to stop the Reaper from becoming something more than a mere legend that led to all this. But you're not to blame for that, Lord Van Zieks. Only because serious crime in the capital dropped off so sharply when the public started calling you that. That's why you didn't say anything, isn't it? Actually, I just thought it was really rad. To be frank, I'm not sure that was the sole reason. What do you mean? There was a rumor at the time that the Reaper was really the ghost of my late brother. But having been slain by that evil killer, Clint's restless spirits returned as some sort of demigod, to wield a deadly blade of justice where I, by dint of the law, could not. Yes, we've heard that story too. But I lost him. Okay, that is Clint. I felt as though I'd lost my guiding light. I didn't know where to go or what to do. And so, in some small way, I wondered if perhaps those rumors made me feel his absence a little less keenly. Even if I knew it was just an illusion. Just some nonsense conjured up by an over-imaginative public. By the way, I'm your wife now? Oh, cool. When are you going to start paying the mortgage? This is an equal relationship. It was obviously extremely important to you. Lord Clint Van Zieks. Well, what's important now is uncovering the truth. That's all that matters. I know that you didn't take anyone's life. And I intend to prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt in court today. When I pay child support? Ah, fuck. You got me there. I never thought I'd say this, but I can see it in your eyes. That burning desire to cut through all the lies and deception. I can't deny it any longer. You are a lawyer of absolute integrity. Thank you. Now tell me, why do I detect the scent of expensive tea leaves in the air? Oh. Oh, Iris! What did you get here? Oh! Ah, I brought you one of my special blends. Harley loves it. He says it helps him to clear his head. I thank you. Oh, hee hee. That's surely the first and last time I'll ever see a sight like this. It's drugged. Yeah, it's fucking poison. You seem different today, Iris. Oh? Sort of subdued, I suppose. I am not. What happened yesterday is obviously still playing on her mind a lot. She's clearly very troubled about having stolen that autopsy report from Dr. Scythe's laboratory. All
right then. Good luck to you both. I have to make a move now. Oh, you're not staying?
She took drugs. She's on weed. Subdued. I'm a subdude. Hey. I thought you want to watch today's proceedings.
Well, I'd like to cheer you on, obviously. But I've got lots to get ready.
Get ready? For what?
Oh, yes. Would you like to, would you take this?
Isn't that one of the little felt dolls that's usually dangling from your knapsack? As we learned literally like yesterday?
Yes, it's a lucky charm. A little Hurley that I made once.
A Hurley? Looks more like a Hairley to me.
If for some reason you completely run out of options in the trial today, it contains a remote explosive that you can kill yourself with, in-game. Then just purse this little Hurley's ears as hard as you possibly...
I was kidding. Is it actually going to explode?
Then just pull this little Hurley's ears as hard as you possibly can.
What? Pull his ears?
That's right. It's a way to bring good luck. I think you might need it.
Oh boy. I hate how lobsters aren't counted as crabs. I mean, they're both crustaceans, right? They're just clearly different.
You think what we'll need is luck? I just sneaked a peek inside the courtroom. And it seemed very different to normal.
Yes, it would seem that a certain someone has decided to pull out all the stops. What does that mean?
What about Mr. Sholmes, Iris? I don't know. He was out all night and hadn't come home by the time I left this morning.
Having a mission in ocean fishing to get crabs and I keep hitting lobsters? Ah, that explains it. Oh, also my camera's blocking the names. There, what did that say? Oh.
Oh, I see.
Was Professor Mikotoba out all night too, do you think, Mr. Sato?
Yes, it would seem so. I telegrammed the hotel this morning.
Just fucking your dad. Well.
And apparently they didn't come back to their rooms last night at all.
They?
Father and Judge Jigoku, I mean.
Judge Jigoku too?
That's right. Nobody appears to have seen either of them since yesterday.
Counsel for the defense and the defendant. Court is about to be in session. Please make your way inside the courtroom at once.
Good luck then, Runo. Good luck, Susie.
Yes, thanks, Iris.
And you, Mr. Reaper. I hope it goes well.
Once again, I thank you for the delicious tea. It was very soothing.
Oh, I'm so glad. We must go inside now, Lord Van Zieks.
Lord Van Zieks has always been the formidable prosecutor I've had to lock horns with in court. But not today. Today I battle with another in pursuit of the truth. My best friend, Kazuma Asogi, who I trust more than anyone else in the world. I feel like you keep saying that, and I feel like he keeps giving you reasons maybe not to trust him so much. Just a thought. I need to put that shovel back? What shovel? Now I understand what it was that drew me here to Britain all these months ago. Now I know exactly what destiny had in store for me. All been leading up to this one day, to this one trial, to this one final reckoning. Game's plot twist is that Kazuma fucked Ryunosuke's mom. 3rd of November, 9:30 a.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. Can't help but feel like it's kind of weird that I haven't seen the interior of the courtroom yet. What the fuck happened? Oh. It was even more oppressive in here than it did yesterday. Our cold stares piercing me like knives from all sides today. What's with me and fucked your mom jokes today? Who knows?
Ah! Mr. Naruhodo, look!
I knew it! I knew he was going to be the judge for this. Lord Strongheart. Kazuma must have known beforehand. We're all a little wonky today. I'm on new meds. You're making fucked your mom jokes. It's a disaster from start to finish. The ramifications of this trial now extend far beyond the murder of one Scotland Yard inspector. In fact, events have come to light that threaten to rock the very foundations of our country's legal system. The escape of a condemned criminal on the night of his execution, the subsequent unlawful shooting of the man, and the revelation that prison staff must have been complicit in the jailbreak. Britain is currently hosting influential members of the judiciary from countries all around the world. It is imperative that we uncover the truth in these proceedings to avoid international embarrassment. By royal decree, this will continue to be a closed trial, and one over which I, Male Strongheart, exercise total and unequivocal authority. Oh. That seems kinda extra. The 6 jurors' flames just... As was the case in yesterday's proceedings, those here present in the public gallery are distinguished members of our judiciary, assembled to bear witness to a fair judicial process. In other words, a collection of your acolytes, Lord Strongheart. On a personal note, I find this most distressing, Lord Van Zeeks. You were a prosecutor of exceptional talent. Much like your brother Clint, in fact. Oh, that's much more dramatic. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. Quit standing up. For the trial of Barak Van Zeeks, who officially stands accused of murder. Oh, they're pulling out all the orchestral stops now. Oh, everything's very dramatic and all the music is here now. Ooh, alright. NOFA 14 update needs to hurry up. I want more MSQ for free. I understand. Counsels for the prosecution and defense. Are you in full readiness to proceed? The defense is ready, my lord. As is the prosecution. Yesterday's proceedings brought to light a shocking and disturbing fact. There was a side to the victim, Inspector Tobias Gregson, that was unknown to his superiors at Scotland Yard. Yes, he was carrying out operations in secret, which Scotland Yard knew nothing about. And in those clandestine operations, he had an accomplice. Mr. Daily Vigil, who would be given the inspector's identification and present himself around the capital in order to establish credible alibis for Gregson. In that way, Gregson appeared to be carrying out his regular Scotland Yard work, when in fact, he wasn't. At the end of yesterday's session, Mr. Vigil, who had been suffering from amnesia, regained his memory. It would appear he buried his memories of the time deep inside of himself, as a means of self-preservation. Because whilst he was engaged as chief warder at Barclay Prison, he abetted the convict's escape. Mr. Vigil is currently recuperating at St. Sinners. He's recovered enough to give a signed statement about his movements on the day prior to the incident. He's formally admitted to posing as Gregson whilst investigating the Red-Headed League. Which brings us to the crucial issue of the victim's time of death. The defense yesterday proposed a suggestion that the victim may have been killed 1 day earlier. This was based largely on the discovery that the victim's pocket watch had not been wound. The prosecution has something to report on that subject, my lord. Really? Go ahead, Prosecutor Rasogi. I met once again with the coroner yesterday to discuss the issue. She confirmed that the defense's suggestion could not be ruled out. It's entirely possible that Inspector Gregson was killed on 31st October, the day before his body was discovered. I have here an updated autopsy report that includes the amended details. But the official opinion of the investigation team was made clear yesterday, that the time of death was 5 p.m. on 1st of November. There are indications of an attempt to disguise the real time of death, however. Oh, you're right! They did update the autopsy report! Son of a bitch! At least they didn't do it as a fuck me in the middle of the trial. Someone's salary is getting slashed. It seems that the natural decaying process of the victim's body may have been slowed by keeping it chilled. That's out of the question. There are no refrigeration devices in that part of London large enough to accommodate a human corpse. Oh, my lord! This is more than just conjecture. There's evidence to support the idea. We must investigate it thoroughly. Very well. The court will accept the new report as evidence. I know why I'm fucky-wucky. I had to do extra work today because I had to bring my brother car tools and a tire because his tire popped. Oh, yikes. Does this car not have a spare automatically included in it? However, this updated report is deemed to be accurate. It would give renewed significance to the movements of the victim on the day before the Fresno Street incident. It would, yes, especially since on that day, Inspector Gregson was using Mr. Vigil to cover up his real movements. It's conceivable that he was killed in the course of his secret activities. He removed it and lowered his car to hell and back? Well, okay. I guess he only has himself to blame. Do I sense that the prosecution has some information regarding those activities? It's one of those fuckers. I gotcha. Scotland Yard put an enormous effort into investigating that precise matter yesterday. Replace his front seats with those racer seats? Good. Great. I think we should begin by presenting the results of that investigation work. So the prosecution calls its first witness now. Alright, who is it? Oh, it's Gina. That makes sense. State your name and occupation for the court. Didn't even thank me, by the way? Wow. What a great guy.
Inspector Gina Lestrade, reporting. Representative of Scotland Yard.
A self-conferred rank, but never mind.
Gina? Again? What's your problem, Moto?
You did get me a Big Mac, though, I guess. Okay, well, that's a thanks of a sort.
What's with that Gina again look, eh? Ah. The boss meant the world to me. He done more for me than anyone else ever did.
Oh, Inspector Gregson, you mean?
He got me out of the back slums of East End and took me under his wing. Taught me that life can have a purpose. So that's why I'm the best person to be standing here speaking for him. Oh, Gina.
Right, all out of the goodness of Gregson's heart. Not at all that he had his arm twisted by Mr. Sholmes. No. Only 7.5k points. That sucks. What's relevant to these proceedings is that the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigations yesterday has revealed that the victim was carrying out some assignment that the police knew nothing about. Very troubling. That face. Lord Stronghart knew. Ow! So, Inspector Lestrade, let's hear exactly what it says in that report.
Coming right up, sir.
Did I fuck around to make a breakfast burrito? Hell yeah. Alright, here we go. The victim's movements.
All yard detectives are supposed to follow orders and investigate what they're told. But a little search of the boss's office turned up a notebook and a load of secret meetings in it. According to that, the boss was looking into some smuggled goods dealings that day. Looks like it was a big job and all, but the coppers weren't onto it yet. What matters most is, there's witnesses what saw the Reaper at the place too.
Okay. Smuggled goods?
I don't know, do I? I'm just telling you what was written in the book.
Tobacco... I don't know what's happened to me. Something has happened to my brain and or my mouth. I can't say tobacco anymore. For whatever fucking reason, every time I read it and I say it, I go tobacco. I've never said it like that before in my fucking life, and it keeps happening now. I'm losing it. I'm falling apart. Tobacco, tea, spices, medicines, goods of all sorts flow into London by illegal channels from across the globe. It's well known that they're disposed of at regular black markets that take place in the capital. But the police are rarely able to locate them in time. Inspector Gregson was investigating one of these black markets. It's been suggested that high-ranking government officials may be involved in black market activity. No doubt Gregson was trying to avoid details of his investigations being leaked to the involved parties. That would explain why he was operating on his own authority, without the Yard's knowledge. I need to get 20k points, actually. I want the Master of the Sea title. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a rare one, too. I have one related to the Island Sanctuary. That's pretty rare, but that's it. And do we know where the dealings were taking place this time? In a particular room of a certain exclusive London gentleman's club. And on the day in question, the accused is known to have been there. That's the conclusion of Scotland Yard's investigation into the matter. That can't be. We haven't heard anything about any of this. I don't think I can get it without being a high-level fisherman, though. Yeah, that might be something you have to wait for Stormblood to get. Members of the club have testified to it. There is no question. The accused, Barak van Zieks, was present. That would be very significant testimony, then.
Oh my, but Lord Van Zieks has made no mention of this at all.
In short, Lord Van Zieks had ample opportunity to murder the victim. God, that's dramatic. Very well then. Counsel for the defense, begin your cross-examination. Victim's movements. Alright. Supposed to follow orders, investigate what they're told. Search of the boss's office, turned up a notebook that had a lot of secret meetings in it. According to that, the boss was looking into some smuggled goods dealings that day. Okay. I need at least Shadowbringers. There's a level 71 skill that's super good for fishing. Okay, that makes sense. Copper's run onto it yet. I kind of just want to press this last statement first.
Hold it!
It's like the most important piece that we don't know enough about. Lord Van Zieks was at the club. He was busting it down sexual style. Detectives who visited the club yesterday to make inquiries have confirmed it. Several members report having seen the accused being admitted to the room in question as a guest. It looks like there's no disputing that he was there then.
Well, we know that Lord Van Zieks was investigating Inspector Gregson, don't we? Perhaps he'd already discovered the inspector's secret notebook.
Let him to the club, you mean? Maybe. Presumably then, there are also eyewitnesses who can testify that Gregson was there. And Walker would make it even easier. It has a skill that allows me to hook 3 fish at once. Oh, okay. Yeah, that seems very good. I mean, if you're going to get Shadowbringers at this point, you're going to get Endwalker as well. You're going to buy the complete edition, so... Okay, I see. That makes sense. None have been identified at this time, no. So the all-important victim wasn't seen at this mysterious club.
Oi, why aren't you asking Inspector Lestrade, eh?
Okay, we're just gonna breeze past that, so that's all I've got to work with. Gina's not holding back with that ice-cold stare of hers, is she?
I really don't know what to make of all this.
Lord Van Zieks told us that he was investigating Inspector Gregson, but he never once mentioned that he met the inspector the day before the incident.
You don't think Lord Van Zieks could have been lying to us, do you?
That's not the only way to explain this.
Oh.
Everything Lord Van Zieks has told us is true. There must be a mistake in this testimony somewhere.
You mean, there are details we've yet to uncover?
Exactly. A clue, perhaps, that even Gina hasn't noticed. Once I'm able to do MSQ, I'm not going to be fishing that much. Hey, but when you finish the MSQ, right? We gotta wait for the next expansion to come out. So what else are you gonna do in the meantime? That's what we should be looking for here. Okay, we'll just press it. I was hoping the last one would be the one I needed. So, you follow orders, do you, Gina?
No, not me. I'm above all that, see?
Oh.
The boss always had special orders for me. Grab us some fish and chips, or go and give Toby his grub. That kind of thing.
So errands more than orders, then. This detective is still an apprentice, after all.
Yeah, well, this apprentice ain't one to sit around and wait to be told what to do, even by the boss. That's why I've been doing my own investigations into what happened. I didn't find much at first.
Okay.
Hold it!
Saw the Among Us minion again. I hate it. I can't... I'm so mad that you showed that to me. It's really unsettling. So you went through Inspector Gregson's things.
Yep, as part of the independent Lestrade investigation.
I'm sure your superiors would be delighted that you are taking the initiative.
Well, I snuck into his office when no one was about. Because if anyone at the yard had seen me going in there, they'd have turfed me straight onto the street.
This is sounding less and less like an investigation and more like something else. The prosecution understands that it was this very detective who discovered the notebook.
You got that right. Nothing gets past Inspector Lestrade and our trusty assistant, Chief Inspector Toby.
Oh, please tell me you brought him.
He found it hidden in one of his desk drawers at a false bottom.
That's impressive.
So then I went to hide myself when no one could find me so I could have the butchers of what was written in it.
What the fuck? Where did this term come from? Where did the term have a butcher's at it coming to mean have a look at it come from? I'm very curious.
Could have the butchers of what was written in it. Because if anyone at the yard found me out, they have chucked me straight out onto the street. I've given it in now, though, ain't I? And if it weren't for me, it would have never been found.
Okay, smell of goods. Have a butcher's mean to have a look originate from butcher's hook, an S-shaped hook used by butchers to hang up meat and dates from the late 19th century, but has existed independently in general use from around the 1930s, simply as butchers. Okay. I still don't know how you went from butcher's hook to look. I guess because it rhymes. That's kind of all I got. All right. You have an idea where those dealings were taking place?
Yep. It was all there in the boss's notes. Let's see if I can remember.
As I already said, the illegal dealings were due to take place at a gentleman's club.
Yes, I remember. But I was hoping to find out the name of the club.
That won't be necessary.
What?
It's conceivable that the club might be used again by the smugglers in the future. Therefore, the prosecution has been asked not to reveal the name in these proceedings.
I don't know what the fuss is about. It's right here. All I've got to do is read it out. And I could too. I got this reading game buttoned up now. Can I show you what I can do? Go on, what's the
The judge hasn't signaled his objection yet. I could try to find out. What should I do? I'll insist, why not? Ow! This is a closed court. The proceedings are confidential. There shouldn't be any possibility of the information being leaked. As I explained, there is some possibility of politicians being involved in this affair. Prosecution is rightfully exercising caution, I imagine. No, my lord. The prosecution has no objection. Oh, he doesn't like that. He doesn't like that at all. I don't trust you, Strongheart. Something's up with you. Kazuma? There is no question that Inspector Gregson was looking into these black market dealings. However, it's not yet been established that he was on that particular trail on the day in question. If the defense requires to know the club's name, the prosecution has no intention of being obstructive.
Right then. I get to show off my reading skills. Apparently the smuggled goods deal was going to happen at a gentleman's club called the Grouse.
Grouse?
Hold it!
Okay. The Grouse? What sort of a club is that?
I ain't got the foggiest. Clubs ain't exactly my thing.
Me neither.
But I am kind of curious.
They're not places where a foreign student like you would really be... would... They're not places where a foreign... oh my god. They're not places where a foreign student like you would be readily admitted. Voice actor I am not. Have you looked in the mirror recently?
I tell you what. Me and Chief Inspector Toby could go in undercover.
Could you, though?
I could pick out a few good marks and see what else I could find out while I was in there.
I really don't think you should go picking out anything. Anyway, that's where these black market dealings were going to take place, is it?
Yeah, it's gotta be. That's what the lower ranking detectives at the yard reckon.
As the even lower ranking detective. Okay. Grouse. Does that help me? Can I pull on his ears now?
What a charming little rabbity version of Mr. Sholmes. Do you suppose this is how Iris sees him? Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Her eyes are veritably boring into the poor doll's ears.
Oh, sorry. I was just wondering. What do you suppose would happen if I were to tug its ears with all my might right now?
I'm sure that we'll find out when the time is right. To become a proper gentleman, you really must learn stoic patience.
But I want to know. Alright. There, oop, upskirt Scott. Okay. Wouldn't happen to be the gross in here, would it? Nope. Okay, passports. Nothing in here. Just hoping that somewhere it says the grouse. Okay. Probably nothing in here. Yep. I still want to know how this is going to come up. The torn corner is really going to be fucking craziness. I just know it. No, okay, nothing. There might be more to press.
Hold it!
So how would Inspector Gregson come to find out about it in that case?
That's the question, ain't it? Well, I'm just an apprentice, so...
And why didn't he inform Scotland Yard of his findings?
Yeah, that's what I was asking myself, because, you know, I'm just an apprentice.
When it suits you, yes.
Anyway, the point is, something went on in that club, no question.
Can't say that for certain, though, surely. We've already pressed this. Press it again, just to make sure. At the club, at the club. Okay. Let me just press the two first statements again. This might be a multi-press
Hold it!
situation. I like Leap of Faith because there's always people at the end cheering everyone else on. Oh yeah. Everyone's in it together.
Hold it!
Ooh, excuse me, God. I thought the medication was supposed to give me more energy. This is always going to happen at a gentleman's club called the Crows. I did press this, right? Okay, so there is a contradiction in here. Okie dokie. Let's see what we have. How is this gonna play into it? Let me just check to see. Can I examine this again? Is the grouse on here?
There are details of a whole raft of cases dating back years on here, aren't there?
This paper from 10 years ago is browning with age. Look.
Out of interest, the most recent thing appears to be this newspaper cutting here.
Oh, it's the same Red-Headed League advertisement that Mr. Sholmes had picked out.
And do you remember? There was a red hairpiece at the scene too.
Is Inspector Gregson an exponent of the Red-Headed League then? Okay, no, that's still nothing. I like this little stick figure, man. I'm presuming that's what that is. Okay. I do not know why I'm yawning so much. Oliver. Notice. Nothing there. This is from the professor case. Passport doesn't help. Let me check this case again. Whoops. There's something in here. We've already seen this. Have you seen this huge gash across the side of the trunk here? Oh, you know what? It's reset the investigation stuff because we're in a new case. This is episode 5. That's why everything is like the check marks disappeared on the all investigation stuff. That's why this is all replaying like it's new. That's a little programming niftiness. Alright. So we can't really know if something is new. That's okay. Prison at the scene where Inspector Gregson was killed. Logical conclusion, yes. He's been carrying this around with her. Didn't know any better. I suppose it does look like a grease stain from all the fish and chips. Grease is not that color, unless it's like automotive grease. You probably don't put on fish and chips, but I'm not an expert. Alright, and this was his passport, right? Yes. Okay. For travel on the 31st of October, just one day before the incident. Okay. Always make sure to touch the gold before I do the jumps of the gold thingy, just because I got the gold and missed the last jump, and now I can just dance and spawn because I still got the dub. That's true. That's generally good practice. I usually go for the gold first and then go for the gold. Okay. On this club called the Gross. I don't think this helps me. In this particular scenario. Can I open this up? Gross. And their insignia looks genuine to me. Okay. Details are all correct as well. Just note that this is really Inspector Gregson's identification. I'm taking suggestions, chats. You gonna make a breakfast burrito? Hell yeah. Let me know how good it is. Oh, I didn't examine this. I've always wondered what the underside of a hairpiece looks like.
That doesn't surprise me at all, Mr. Naruhodo. You always want to see what lies beneath, don't you?
I'm not sure that's quite how I'd put it. Must have to use lots of bird lime to keep it in place on your head. So it doesn't get blown off in a gust of wind, I mean.
That might be a little inconvenient when you wanted to take it off again, don't you think?
Okay. Okay, nothing there. Anything here? No. I feel like there's a piece of evidence that we haven't fully looked at yet. No. something about the grouse. Unless it's something else in here. Smuggled goods deal was going to happen at a gentleman's club called the Grouse. Big job and all the coppers weren't onto it yet. Whoops, I didn't mean to go all the way through. Hang on, what did that say? A clue, perhaps, that even Gina hasn't noticed. It was a big job and all, but the coppers weren't onto it yet. This is you saw the Reaper at the place too. I feel like it's gotta be, there's gotta be some connection with the grouse, because that's the piece we uncovered. Because this doesn't
Hold it!
have anything new here. There's no like choice I could have made. Yeah, no, there's nothing there. I am stumped. I do not know what to do here. Trunk doesn't have anything else in it. Stogie papers are not going to help me. Passport's not going to help me. There's nothing in here, was there? No. Is this Jon Snow? King of the North. Pulp reports. No, nothing in there. Didn't actually read the circle part. No. Okay. Do we know what this says? Mikitoba's wonderful handwriting, doesn't it? This dark-suited young man... Oh, no, we've read this. Okay. Grab this as well. Ship tickets, SS... Oh! Oh! Hey! Wait a minute! The SS Grouse! First class cabin 01. Aha! Here we go. Yokohama departure 11th September, London arrival 1st of November. That's the boat that Professor Mikitoba and Judge Jigoku came on from Japan, isn't it? I think it's been almost a year since we arrived. Hang on, it arrived November 1st. So this can't... So the Grouse is the ship, and it couldn't have been the club because the ship wasn't there yet. It showed up the day after this went down, I think. Yeah, okay. So I think I can present this and be like, what the fuck is up with that? Right? Because the timing's not right. Hang on, let me read the history again. What did it say? London arrival 1st of November. And if I check the passport... It was then 1 week of 31st of October. And the day of the incident was November 1st. But the day of the incident that they thought it was. So yeah, I think it's the steamship ticket. It couldn't have been the Grouse, because the Grouse is the ship and it wasn't there yet.
Objection!
Yes! I've read about these clubs that exist here in Britain. As I understand it, they're places where well-to-do gentlemen socialize with friends and colleagues. Don't imagine for a second that a foreign student like you would be admitted. Seriously, is your mirror cracked or something? Do we know for sure that the contraband dealings were definitely happening at a club called The Grouse? The police are currently looking for evidence, but haven't found anything definitive yet. And I'm sorry to say that they probably won't. What do you mean by that? I mean that the place Inspector Gregson was secretly going to visit on 31st of October may not have been a gentleman's club at all. You're showing a very irreverent attitude toward our country's police force there, Counsel. If it wasn't a gentleman's club, then what was it? Ow! A steamship. You think it's a ship? I have the evidence to prove it, here. Let me see that. This dark-suited young man is not in the least bit untrustworthy. The other side, my lord. Be more specific next time. This would appear to be a ticket for passage upon a steamship, yes. The SS Grouse.
Objection!
Do we really have to have the flames lit the whole time? So there's a steamship named the Grouse that happens to share a name with the club. But I'm afraid to say, there's a flaw in your logic there. How? Look at the ticket. Notice the date of arrival in port. The ship arrived at the port of Dover on 1st of November. Ah. The day on which the sound like a gunshot was heard on Fresno Street. In other words, on the day in question here, 31st of October, when the victim was on his clandestine mission. That ship hadn't yet docked on British shores, but he was in France first and he was on his way back. Maybe, I don't know. That would certainly make an undercover investigation somewhat challenging.
Objection!
The fact that the steamship hadn't yet reached Britain substantiates the defense's assertion that the victim was investigating the SS Grouse on the day in question. Oh, then show your evidence for that assertion. Very well. In that case, counsel for the defense, present your evidence to the court now. Evidence that substantiates your claim that the victim was investigating the SS Grouse on the 31st of October. It's his passport, I think.
Take that!
Yep. What's this? A passport for travel issued to the victim. Dated 31st October. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that just one day before the inspector's body was discovered, there's a distinct possibility that he wasn't even in the country. Order. Order! This document is for passage to France. It does appear to have been officially authorized. The day before the SS Grouse arrived at Dover, it docked on the northern coast of France for a night.
According to my father, who was on board, at the port of Dunkirk.
Dunkirk, France. What could possibly have taken the victim there? Ha 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 ha! I'm impressed, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I certainly didn't expect you to get your hands on that passport. What? You mean, you knew about this? What the fuck are you doing, Kazuma? The prosecution strategy for this trial has been laid down by the Crown Prosecution Office. On the day before the incident, the victim was investigating contraband dealings at a London club. That's the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigations and the line the prosecution has been asked to follow. But personally, I don't agree. I think the prosecutor's office is trying to hide something. What? And now that you've expertly disproven their assertion, I intend to reveal what I believe that something to be. What are you playing at, Prosecutor Usogi? A courtroom is a forum for the truth, my lord. Which is why it's my duty to present all the facts, without exception. Let me guess. This was your intention from the outset, wasn't it? Ow! The reason Inspector Gregson secretly made his way to the steamship docked in France on the day in question was to carry out a mission for the Reaper.
The Reaper?
Order. Order! What on earth are you saying, Counsel? The prosecution made an assertion in court yesterday. Inspector Gregson was investigating the identity of the Reaper. When he discovered the location of the man's secret hideout, he was killed. As I'm sure everyone can imagine. By the Reaper's hand. That's what I sound like in my memories. But in reality, the truth is the opposite of that.
What?
Inspector Gregson wasn't investigating the Reaper at all. He was in fact acting for the Reaper.
So, you're saying the mission he was undertaking was...
Obviously, an assassination. Barak von Zieks never carried out any of the actual killings. Whenever the Reaper's victims lost their lives, he always had a cast iron alibi. Which tells us that he must have had an accomplice. And you claim that was Inspector Gregson?
That's Gina, yep. What the hell do you think you're saying, eh? My boss would never have done nothing like that.
And yet, when you consider all the facts, it all makes perfect sense.
No, it can't be. We also arrived at the same conclusion, didn't we? That Inspector Gregson was operating as the Reaper.
Even so, there's no way that the person giving him his orders was Lord Van Zieks. No, the true Reaper is somebody else. Ow! Barak von Zieks is not the Reaper. A predictable response from someone who's advocating for the man. And even if it's true that Gregson was operating as an agent of the Reaper, the suggestion that he went aboard the SS Grouse on an assassination mission doesn't follow at all. Oh, you have some solid reason for doubting the assertion, do you, Counsel? Absolutely. It's very simple. On the day in question, nobody was killed aboard that steamship. Professor Mikotoba and Judge Jigoku were on that very ship. If someone had been assassinated, I'm certain we would have heard about it. What's so funny? You're right, of course. No suspicious deaths were reported on board the ship. But I think, perhaps, you've missed the point. That's precisely why Inspector Gregson himself lost his life.
What?
Gregson did board the SS Grouse that night with the intention of dispatching his mark. But his mission ended in failure.
Failure?
It seems that the defense hasn't yet grasped a very important detail here.
What are you talking about?
What detail? Inspector Gina Lestrade.
Hey, what?
The victim's notebook that you read an excerpt from earlier. That doesn't contain details of secret investigations at all. It describes 10 years of assassination plots to be carried out by the Reaper of the Bailey.
You're lying. Even if all them bludgers were got taken out of common. The boss, what the Reaper? Poor Gina.
There is no question that Tobias Gregson was heavily involved in the Reaper's activities. You may just be an apprentice, but if you've spent any time at Scotland Yard, you must have heard rumors.
I heard nothing, and I don't believe a word of it.
Then testify again, as a representative of Scotland Yard. Consider it your chance to defend your boss.
I don't...
I concur. The witness will give a new formal testimony. Miss Lestrade, you will tell the court everything you know about Inspector Gregson's secret notebook. Well, this is going to be an unfortunate thing to blow a hole in.
Yeah, this notebook does have a load of stuff about what Reaper got up to these past 10 years. Names of victims, dates and places and stuff. And the last entry in there was 31st October. It said grass for the place on the that date, and then the name of the mark. There was a note about him being a criminal what got away from the Reaper in court 10 years ago or something. But honest, the boss didn't do none of it. It was It was just investigating the Reaper, that's all.
Keep personal opinion out of your testimony, witness. We require only established fact here.
This must be so hard for her.
You can't deny it now, surely, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
What can't I deny?
The notebook contained the name of the final mark and the location where the assassination would take place. That's information that the victim could only have known if he was working with the Reaper.
Ah,
So, who was to be this final mark? Go ahead, Inspector Lestrade. Read the name for the court. The name that's written alongside the entry that mentions the grouse on 31st October.
eh? Oh,
It's fucking, It's either Jigoku or, Mikotoba.
eh? Oh, how'd you read this then?
Reading's still not her strong suit.
That ain't the problem, alright, Odo. It's a funny name. It ain't English. It's hard to read.
It's someone from overseas.
Let me have a bash at it. Sei Ish Edo. Is it? Yeah, Seishiro. Jigokyu. Maybe? What? It can't be. Seishiro Jigoku? But that's Judge Jigoku!
Seishiro Jigoku. Certainly not an English name, you're right.
Objection!
But that can't be right. I know Judge Jigoku, and I saw him the day before yesterday, here in London. So I know for a fact that the man hasn't been assassinated.
Oh, as I said, the Reaper failed.
Oh.
Gregson missed his chance to kill his mark and return to British shores. But the Reaper wouldn't tolerate the mistake, so he killed the inspector. Personally.
Seishiro hell.
The Reaper, of course, being the accused, Barak von Zeeks. It's an undeniably logical argument.
Kazuma, you planned for the trial to go this way all along, didn't you?
Hold it!
Oh,
Van Zeeks?
where do you...
Oh, okay.
Alright, been a while since you've done that. Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice whilst I stand accused of murder.
But Lord Van Zeeks?
The accused has no right to speak uninvited in court. You will return to the dock. I say nothing of whether or not I'm the Reaper. That's the task of this court to decide. But there is one thing I can say unequivocally. That girl is no detective.
Eh? What? No, that's right, I ain't. I'm an inspector.
Repeating rumors heard around the yard. Reading entries from a notebook of unconfirmed origin. That's not testimony. It's practically a script. No doubt the rest of this trial will go exactly as you've clearly planned. You did not confiscate my hidden courtroom wine. There's a loose floorboard here, you fools! Your hatred of me is understandable. In your mind, I'm sure I am the Reaper, who sent your father to the gallows all those years ago. But you're in danger of becoming a far more sinister Reaper yourself, by attempting to have me condemned with this feeble excuse for testimony. What did you say?
Mr. Naruto, this is our chance.
Ow! My lord, the defense requests that the defendant be allowed to speak. He may be privy to important information relating to the testimony just given by the witness. Breakfast burrito good? Excellent. I'd love to hear it. Oh, that's not great. Very well. I'll make an exception and grant the request. The defendant may remain in the witness stand for the cross-examination. Then allow me to toast the court's impartiality. Don't raise your glass in my direction, sir. Counsel for the defense, begin the cross-examination immediately. At once, my lord. Alright, so there's definitely going to be some things Barrick has to say about this cross-examination. The book does have a load of stuff about what the Reaper got up to these past 10 years. Names of victims, dates and places and stuff. And the last entry in there was 31st October. Big Russ was placed on that date, and then the name of the mark. About being a criminal, but got away from the Reaper in court 10 years ago or so.
Hold it!
Let's press that. What do you mean a criminal? Judge Jigoku is no criminal.
Oh, don't ask me. I don't know nothing about it.
Oh, do you remember what Father told us? That Judge Shigoku did once appear in court here in Britain. It was related to the professor case, I'm sure.
Yes, of course, you're right.
Seishiro was trying to mitigate Genshin's guilt, so he took to the stand to testify. But he got a little carried away and, actually managed to break the witness stand. He also said some contemptuous words about the British Empire, for which he was charged. It was a pitiful situation, yes. I'd forgotten all about it, but I prosecuted that trial too, as it happens.
Did? What do you mean? You know that. Come on, Rinosuke. It was considered to be an adjunct to the oh, this is a different trial for I got it. It was considered to be an adjunct to the professor proceedings, you see. But he was acquitted after being told to make reparation for the damage caused to the stand. Ow, and there you have it. Have what? Surely the accused hasn't forgotten his own rule. That there's no saving anyone who faces the Reaper in court, guilty or innocent alike. Huh? No! Are you suggesting that the reason Judge Jigoku was targeted for assassination? The man was sent back to Japan immediately after that trial. The Reaper had no time to do his work. But then, 10 years later, the mark returns to Britain once more. Perhaps now you start to see just how vindictive the Reaper is. Ah, come on, that's absurd. It takes someone's life for that. Isn't the whole premise of the Reaper absurd, killing those who have been found innocent? Clearly the rules by which the man operates are beyond a sane person's comprehension. But... okay. Thought it would go somewhere. Just investigating the Reaper, that's all. That's that. Okay. So you have complete faith that Inspector Gregson is innocent in all of this.
Of course I do. I mean, I owe him that, don't I? Because he's the only one who have faith in me.
Gina,
Boss promised me he did. He promised me that even though I was just a diver, he could turn me into a top-notch detective. A cove with a good heart like that ain't gonna go and rob people of their futures, is he?
Every single person killed by the Reaper was a criminal of the first order. Lowlifes like that have no compunction about robbing hundreds of others of their futures.
Eh?
Their ludicrous acquittals in court give them the freedom to make hundreds more suffer.
I don't.
So what? You justified your actions because you were protecting innocent people's futures. I'm not suggesting that the Reaper's methods are justified at all. But life isn't black and white. That's all I'm saying. Alright. Well, that's what we have to work with.
may help us that Lord Fancyx is in the stand too.
Yes, perhaps. I'm sure Gina knows nothing she hasn't already told us. There's no point trying to get more out of her.
Did you notice how Kazuma-sama reacted to Lord Fancyx's words?
And he called him an even more sinister Reaper, you mean? Well, I'm sure Kazuma intends to eliminate any shred of doubt that the man is guilty. He's looking for revenge against the person he considers to be his father's killer, after all.
I do worry that if we fail to find a discrepancy in this testimony somewhere, the trial may end, and education won't go in our favor. Let's listen carefully again to what everybody is saying.
Okay. Just keep pressing.
Hold it!
In other words, it shows that Gregson was basically acting as the Reaper.
Not you and all. That ain't the only explanation, is it? He could have been investigating the Reaper in secret, and that notebook said what I found out.
If I may. When originally people began referring to me as the Reaper, I didn't object. I believed the power to intimidate London's criminal classes into compliance with the law to be beneficial. But you carried out your own investigation into the true identity of the Reaper, didn't you? Yes. Those investigations proved conclusively that Gregson was one arm of the Reaper.
One arm? What you on about?
The Reaper's victims were all extremely shrewd criminals at the top of their game. There's simply no way one person could have taken them on alone. The Reaper is an organization. With you at its head. I had spies at the yard keeping me abreast of Gregson's movements, letting me know when he was elsewhere. Though I'd been able to check the most recent entry in his book, I knew the location.
You knew it said grouse?
Believing it to be a reference to the Gentleman's Club, I went there on the day in question to investigate, alone.
Ah, so that explains why several members of the club claim to have seen you there.
But of course, the inspector was not there. Because at the time he was making his way to the steamship docked on the northern coast of France, as shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. Very well then, back to your testimony about the contents of this notebook.
Fine.
Something wrong, Mr. Naruto? You seemed a little shocked by something a moment ago.
Oh, no, it's all right.
I'm overthinking this, aren't I?
Oh, hang on. Was there something there but the passport? Okay, we'll keep that in mind.
Hold it!
Names of victims, dates, places, and stuff. What in particular?
Well, besides victims' names, this other name kept cropping up.
What other name was that?
The one I told you yesterday. The same name, written over and over again.
You mean Assassin?
Yeah, that's the one. She's a friend of yours or something, isn't she?
Were you even listening yesterday? Assassin. The assassin.
What? Like, a killer, you mean?
Gregson was the tactician, the one who came up with the plan of attack. He investigated the marks thoroughly, finding out when they would be vulnerable, and who to use to get at them. But the person actually executing his plans was someone else, you're saying? That's true. Then the Reaper does indeed start to sound like an organized group of vigilantes.
Ah, perhaps what it said on the passport document.
Permission for the applicant and one additional person to travel. Could that additional person have been... Clearly the assassin, who was meant to take Seishiro Jigoku's life.
Gina, can you confirm that? Against the final entry that listed Grouse and Seishiro Jigoku, what name was written? Oh, well, that's the only entry that didn't have a name next to it, as it happens. What? It just added like a question mark or something there, I think.
In other words, Gregson himself didn't know the identity of the assassin in that case. But Gregson was the one making the plans, was he not?
Oh, how infuriating.
A nameless assassin.
Okay.
Hold it!
Ow. And you're saying that the mark listed was Seishiro Jigoku?
That's what it said. Funny name, if you ask me. And I thought your name was odd.
So pleased to have lost my crown there. Mr. Jigoku was the presiding judge of Japan's Supreme Court of Judicature. I remember the man. He came to our country as a visiting student 16 years ago. Studying international law and diplomacy under your tutelage, Lord Strongheart. That bearded young fellow was a very able man, I must say. Lord Strongheart was Judge Jigoku's mentor. If I'm not mistaken, he returned to Japan 10 years ago now.
10 years ago, after that fateful case.
Precisely. In the aftermath of the Professor case, his repatriation was organized immediately. It's a mystery why such a man would be listed in the inspector's notebook.
I didn't think it was possible, but the mutineers got even worse now. Maybe I'll just keep talking.
Aha!
Right, I've had just about enough of this.
Gina?
All this nonsense about the boss planning to kill people. It's cobblers. Come on, Otto.
Yes?
Why ain't you saying nothing? Why ain't you yelling out objection or something?
What?
You've got to find a flaw. You do usually. Someone's lying here, no question. You got to work out who it is. Please. For the boss. Hate to break it to you, he's probably not a great guy.
That outburst was an insult to the court and to you and to your own testimony. You might have known that a common pickpocket from the back slums couldn't make a detective. Alright, that's kind of a low blow. That's... God, fuck you. Fuck you. When this trial is over, you will forfeit your warrant card, Miss Lestrade. Is that clear?
Oh. I've had it with a lot of you. It's lies every bleeding place you look in this world, innit? Well, I've had enough.
Gina,
So have I. After the little speech of Gina's, I've made up my mind.
to do what, Mr. Naruhodo?
There was one point in this cross-examination when something that was said just didn't sit right with me. One statement that seemed odd.
Oh, do you mean?
I'm not going to let Gina's plea for help fall on deaf ears.
Well, I don't help. You gotta find a flaw somewhere.
Hold it!
Alright? I want to thank you, Gina. You helped me find my resolve. Eh? What do you mean? Amongst everything we've heard during this cross-examination, there's one thing that defies explanation. One inconsistency. What? An inconsistency?
Ready, Otto?
I don't quite know what it means yet, but... Yes, there's an inconsistency in something that was said by... Oh. Uh-oh. Who said it? Can I go up that far? Nope. Oh god, I don't know who it is. I didn't think they would give me a name. As like, who fucked up? Who was it? Was it Barrack? Ah, shit, it was about the, oh no, it was Kazuma. He said that he was traveling to the dock, steamship.
Take that!
Oh, okay. Ow! By you, Kazuma Asogi. Me. Is this some attempt at filibustering, counsel? Prosecutor Asogi has given no testimony. What are you suggesting I said that was inconsistent? You let something slip that you shouldn't have. When I present the relevant piece of evidence, I imagine you'll realize what you've done. Very well then, counsel. Go ahead. What evidence reveals this alleged inconsistency in something Prosecutor Asogi has said? I think it's the passport. I don't know why. Data departure within 1 week. Oh, it was a departure. I think? The travel police business? I don't know. We'll try it. I think this is the right answer anyways, so we'll find out why it's correct.
Take that!
Uh-oh. So, my initial impressions were correct. This is nonsense. Ah, fuck. I fucked it up. Accuse your best friend and back it up with that. Clearly, Ryunosuke Naruhodo I knew is dead. Ah, struck down by my best friend.
I believe what you intended to point out, Mr. Naruhodo, was when Kazuma said,
Because at the time he was making his way to the steamship docked on the northern coast of France, as shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. Yes, that's exactly it. I take it from your expression that you're not going to let this go. Correct, my lord. I made a mistake, that's all. What are you suggesting I... Oh, is it the trunk? Oh, I think it was the trunk, because we found it in there. And it was removed from the scene. Yeah, so how did he know it was, departure? I guess? We'll try it.
Take that!
Okay, yeah. This is a trunk that belonged to Inspector Gregson. A metal construction, is it? It's certainly very heavy. What's this? A bloodstain. And a relatively fresh one, too.
What? You mean that I grease from all the boss's fish and chips?
Obviously not. Fresh blood on the inspector's trunk. That suggests that the victim was traveling with that luggage when he was killed. That can't be. There was no mention of any trunk in Scotland Yard's reports. Yes, there's a reason for that. Immediately after the inspector's body was discovered, one of the street peddlers made off with the trunk, hoping to sell it. Like to think lawyers just have huge wagons of evidence and no one questions it. Well, here's the thing, is like sometimes it's just a record of the evidence that exists, and then sometimes it's the actual items. So I think most of them are just like, you know, I have a record of this thing, and other times it's like, all right, I have this because it's narratively convenient. And it's kind of like wishy-washy as to which one it is.
Well, I found it. Me with me nose for trouble.
Which means that nobody should have known anything about the trunk. Unless, of course, we're talking about somebody who was present when the victim was killed. And yet, during the cross-examination of the witness just now, you said this, Kazuma.
Because at the time, he was making his way to the Seamstock docked on the northern coast of France, as shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk.
That's what you sound like in my head. So the question is, how did you know about the inspector's trunk? We know the man went on a trip to France. Where else would he have put his passport?
Objection!
But you knew it was a metal trunk. Answer me honestly, Kazuma. On 31st of October, where exactly were you? At the port of Dunkirk, on board the SS Grouse. Is that the answer you're looking for, Ryunosuke? Kazuma, what did you... Is he the bad guy? What is happening? I hadn't considered the possibility before, but if Kazuma was there on the ship then, it can only have been for one purpose. Okay, fine, I was sucking Gregson's dick. I was cheating on you, are you happy?
Oh no, Mr. Naruhodo, surely you don't think.
Come on, Ryunosuke, you know the rules. The only thing that really talks in the courtroom is hard evidence. As I understand it, Inspector Gregson always took that case with him when he traveled. So as it stands, you've proved nothing. Kazuma, are you challenging me to prove it beyond all reasonable doubt? That you were there that day, in the same place as the inspector. He was there, with Gregson. There's a clue that you've overlooked, a secret that Trump can tell us. Be sure at this point, I'll need to verify it. I have a nasty feeling that I'm going to be right. The accusation being made is deeply disturbing, but nevertheless, we must test it. The defense will identify for the court where in the trunk this alleged clue is to be found. I think it's the side. Where is the evidence that ties Prosecutor Asogi to Inspector Gregson? It's the slash. Oops, I meant to present it. My bad.
Got it!
There we go. This is your proof. What do you say to that, Prosecutor Asogi? Oh, that wasn't it. Personally, I think tying the defense console to the inspector's trunk and tossing it into the sea would be more helpful. What? At least that way, London's courtrooms will be safe from his destructive accusations.
I believe that was a rather long-winded way of telling you that you're wrong, Mr. Naruhodo.
Very well. Let us see if you sink or swim under the weight of this penalty, Counsel.
Ah! Mr. Naruhodo, you can't allow yourself to be drowned at sea yet.
I was hoping never to let that happen, funnily enough. Okay. It was not that. I thought it would be that. Let's go ahead and open this, maybe. It's in here. Oh, I didn't even notice this. There's a bit of metal wedged in here. I thought it was just the interior metal getting bent around. It's not the slash mark itself, it's this little bit of metal here. You see that? There's something stuck in the side of the trunk there. It's glinting. Looks like a fragment of metal of some sort.
But it's wedged in so tightly, I can't remove it.
Yeah, I literally just noticed it. Just this second. Because I thought it was just the interior that got bent around it. But don't cut yourself. You better leave it, I think. It's absolutely this. It's the tip of, Kurama or whatever. Or Karuma. There's a small piece of metal lodged in the wall of the trunk here. Like the tip of a blade. Eh? A blade? Kazuma, slung around your waist as ever today, is the esteemed blade Kuruma. Of course it is. Won't you draw it here in this courtroom? For all to see? Exercise caution, my learned friend. That man is the son of London's most notorious killer. Bailiff, watch Prosecutor Usogi like a hawk. That won't be necessary. Aha!
Oh no!
The tip is broken. If the fragment of metal from the trunk fits together with the end of the sword, the question of who was there with Inspector Gregson will be answered. Agreed, Kazuma Asogi. Oh, expertly done, Rinosuke. That's a point to you, and well deserved. Do you mean to tell the court, Prosecutor Usogi? Yes, on 31st October, I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk in order to carry out a mission. But the additional person authorized to travel was me. And the mission was the assassination of the Mark. What? What? Is he gonna go down with the ship to bring down Zeke's? You mean you're the killer whose name was omitted from this notebook? We're following the Reaper's orders. Dispatch Judge Jigoku. I think he's gonna make this a murder-suicide. Let me make one thing perfectly clear. I have killed no one. Explain. I accepted the assassination mission, yes, and I accompanied Gregson to Dunkirk. But I never had any intention of carrying out the plan. We're never going to do it.
We can believe Kazuma-sama, I'm sure. After all, Judge Jigoku arrived safely in London the following day.
On the 31st, I boarded a train from London with Inspector Gregson. We traveled to Dover, from where we crossed the channel to Dunkirk. Then we boarded the SS Grouse and made for the cabin deck, as indicated in the plan.
You went to Judge Jigoku's cabin.
Exactly. He wasn't there, though. We decided to wait, but you've already told us you had no intention of going through with it anyway. I didn't come to Great Britain to take anyone's life, so I left Gregson and disembarked the ship. I spent that night at a boarding house in the town and returned to England the following morning. A boarding house in Dunkirk? My signature will be in the register book. It would be simple enough to verify. Then, what became of Jigoku? Gregson was no assassin, so the mark was spared. I'm sure it's easy enough to imagine what happened after that. Gregson returned to England as well, having failed to complete the mission. He met with the Reaper in that room on Fresno Street to report the failure, causing the infuriated mastermind to pull the trigger and end his wretched agent's life. That's the real truth behind Inspector Gregson's murder. Oh, but if you did nothing as you claim, how did the tip of your sword come to be lodged in the inspector's trunk? That's a great fucking question. I don't need to answer that. The victim was killed by a gunshot. A small fragment of a Japanese blade isn't relevant to the case. And accordingly, I chose to exercise my right to silence on that matter. And something. Be that as it may, the court will sequester the sword as evidence. As you wish, my lord. Okay. More evidence. We're up to our 4th page. We must take immediate action now to verify whether Seshiro Jigoku remains unharmed. What? Remains unharmed? I agree. Oops. I agree. That should be our first priority. It's recently come to my attention that he hasn't been seen since yesterday. How did you? When a foreign dignitary invited to Great Britain goes missing for 24 hours, it's only natural that the question of his safety should arise. You don't mean to say that you think Judge Jigoku may have been killed? The Reaper has more than one assassin at his disposal. You really said, bitch, you don't need to know? Yeah. And he has the power and influence to give orders from the inside of a prison cell. Isn't that right, Lord Van Zeeks? If I were truly the Reaper, I'd be able to tell you. Order. Order in court. Order. Oops. We'll take an emergency recess for 30 minutes. How? Guests of the symposium have been told to maintain regular contact with their organizer's office. If the man can't be located within half an hour, we will have to assume the worst.
Oh no, not Judge Jigoku.
No one would want to kill a harmless Japanese man who'd only just arrived in the country. Okay, hang on, time out. I've seen that man. He is anything but harmless. He could snap me in half like a twig. Alright? He's no joke. Except, that is, for the Reaper wanting to finish off a mark that slipped through the net 10 years ago. I would have to agree. Mr. Naruhodo, for the defense's sake. My lord? I sincerely hope we are successful. If we're unable to confirm Mr. Jigoku's healthy existence in the next 30 minutes, we will face grave difficulties. I bet you this is what Mikotoba and Sholmes went to confirm. Mr. Hal killed the assassin, actually. Ah. Court is adjourned for 30 minutes. Is this a to be continued? Nope, not yet.
Kazuma-sama, the Reaper's assassin. I feel as though I'm in a nightmare.
I can hardly believe it either. But on the other hand, Kazuma isn't in the habit of making up stories.
I have such a terrible sense of foreboding. If something awful has happened to Judge Jigoku, then I feel as though things will only spiral further and further out of control.
I felt it from the moment I stepped into the courthouse this morning. Strange sensation that we were careering. Careering? Is careering a word? Shouldn't it be careening? Careering towards a foregone conclusion. Well, in the worst case, we might only have 30 minutes left. Fortunately, though, I don't think there's anything we can do but wait now. We're out of options. I like how easy the Air Force One gate is. It is very easy. Easy points.
Actually, there may be one last hand we can play. Or rather, one last ear.
Of course! Little Mr. Sholmes doll that Iris gave us.
If for some reason you completely run out of options in the trial today, then just pour this into Hurley's ears as hard as you possibly can.
Queering is an old way of saying it. I see. Perhaps now is the time. What should I do? Pull Hurley's ears or not? Pull! I want to know. Here goes then. I'm going to do it.
Good luck, Mr. Naruhodo.
I'm looking back. Heave! Ow!
That scream sounded like Mr. Sholmes.
Mr. Sholmes, where are you?
Here, my dear fellow, here!
It's the felt doll talking.
Pull the ears again, Mr. Naruhodo, as hard as you can.
All right then, I'll put all my strength into it. Heave! Oh, it is a radio.
Ow! Please, my dear fellows, you needn't pull my ear off.
Mr. Sholmes, where are you?
Myself and my trusty partner are presently in the first-class cabin area of the SS Grouse.
The SS Grouse.
She left over last night after the final pieces of cargo were loaded. We are currently docked at Dunkirk, but due to be underway again in half an hour.
You've taken a ship to France.
Please, even with my athletic prowess, I would struggle to jump the Straits of Dover. After we left Baker Street last night, we hurried by cab to the station and by train to the port, in order to board this vessel in time.
So, you mean we'd already worked it out? The steamship was where everything really took place.
Mr. Naruhodo, pray, what is my name?
Sherlock Holmes? World-famous great detective.
Recited to perfection. Well done.
You're a genius, Mr. Sholmes. That's the only word for it.
Ow, 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 ow. Miss Susato, gently with this genius's ear, please.
Oh my, I'm ever so sorry.
Why may, Sholmes? Ah, there you are, Mikotoba. You may remember that it was in fact I who made the connection to the SS Grouse. At Scotland Yard yesterday when we examined the notebook and I recalled my steamship ticket. But of course it was, my dear fellow. And not once did I controvert that fact. I merely had our court-bound companions out of my name. Yes, you did, didn't you?
We've just entered a recess. The trial resumes in 30 minutes from now.
And if we're unable to present any new leads then, I'm afraid to say...
Do not fret, please. It's for precisely that purpose that my partner and I have made this journey. I have no doubts we shall have welcome news for you within the half hour.
Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. That would be wonderful.
Until later, then.
Yes, you'll be hearing from us if you're not in touch first.
Ow, 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 ow. I shan't be hearing anything if you keep tugging my ear in that mindless fashion. What was the idea behind making the receiver operate in that way in the first place, Miss Sholmes? I the deuce what I know. It's Iris's invention, not mine.
Are we going to do an investigation as Mikotoba and Sholmes?
I know how much you enjoy being the hero of the hour, Sholmes. We have but half that now before the Grouse puts to sea again. If we don't conclude our investigations rapidly, we shall find ourselves in Naples before long. There are times, Mikotoba, when you make a surprising amount of sense. So, let us begin. Class cabin number 2. Yes, this is the one. I don't believe an investigation of the cabin is going to be plain sailing.
It's the Russian guy's brother.
That crewman standing in front of the door is an angry-looking fellow.
What the hell does he have on his arm? I mean, it's basically the same guy. What are you lighting here? Who are you?
My dear fellow, do you not recognize a world-famous great detective when you see one?
Am I proud of you? You did it? Elaborate.
The question really ought to be, who are you?
You will not recognize world-traveling great sailor Shinkin Stroganov when you see. Great detective? Ha! I don't think so. Well,
Do you see that, Mikotoba? It would appear that this man is a devoted follower of mine.
finished all 3 combats for the first 3 missions of Dundorma? What the hell is Dundorma? Is this a D's Nuts joke?
It's me. Is that a tattoo that says Sholmes? I must say, while such adoration is flattering, actually it does leave me a little cold.
Oh, the West Marches server. Nice. Well done. Hell yeah. I am proud of you. Congratulations, son. I love you.
What are you talking about? Leave, now!
You did already name it. I forgot the name.
How distressing. My loyal devotee knows me only by name and not by appearance. And yet, I already know a great deal about you, sir. You have a brother, I believe. Like yourself, he's a shipman. Currently traveling the world aboard a Russian steamship, in fact. How could you know this? Elementary, my dear Mikotoba. I'm sure it was. 3 days ago, I was bound for London aboard this ship, you see. Looking for one of my fellow passengers, a man by the name of Jigoku. There is no one with this name on board, but we know that he purchased a ticket for passage. Ah, you mean the Eastern man. He left ship 2 hours ago. Here at Dunkirk, he said something about emergency, I think. What? Are you sure? Oshishiro's realized that we're after him, has he? His cabin is the one behind you. We should like to investigate, please. No, I have orders not to let even mouse inside. Mikotoba, be a good man and draw the sailor's attention away, would you? Make up some excuse that he leaves the area. Doesn't Great Detective see that even sailors have ears, both left and right? Curses! The plan is ruined! You have only yourself to blame, I'm afraid, Sholmes. Forget it, cabin door is locked. Even if I am not here, you cannot get inside. Mikotoba, I'm sure you haven't forgotten my special talent, have you? Opening any lock. Within a mere 5 seconds. So if you'd be so kind as to afford me the requisite time, old friend, in your typically accommodating manner. How could I refuse such a typically unappealing request, old friend? So I need to distract the burly sailor for 5 seconds, do I? Good man. So, the game is afoot. Ooh, alright. Hey, what about this? This must be a mousetrap, I think. Perhaps I could distract the crewman's attention with this somehow. Right. Choo-choo! That sounds like Big Mouse and Trap. Choo-choo! I will bring bucket of water later and put out of misery. I don't like the sound of that. In any case, my dear fellow, that was quite unconvincing. Only Japanese mice make a choo sound. Oh, really, Sholmes? And pray tell, what sound do Russian mice make? PP, naturally, though also quite unconvincingly, I readily admit. So go ahead, Mikotoba, do a PP this time. Oh, thank you. I'm sure I can come up with an alternative solution.
Yeah, he said PP. Ooh, what about this?
Ah, the switch for the electrical lights. Perhaps if I were to turn off the lights, the crewmen wouldn't be able to see what we were doing.
He did tell him to do a PP.
Ah, what is happening? What is light? Now, Sholmes, now!
Sholmes can't see either.
Nobody there. A close shave. Quite a knack you have, stumbling so violently in an apparently empty corridor. Ooh, be quiet, Sholmes. I shall have to think of another approach.
That didn't work either. What about this?
Speaking tube for members of the crew to communicate with one another around the ship. But just persuade our stocky sailor friend that he needed to use it. Holmes could unlock the door whilst he was distracted. Question is, how?
Eh? Oops.
The door? It's the way back to the deck.
but we certainly can't give up on this now. What else is over here? Oh, that might do it. This would appear to be an alarm bell. All hell would break loose if that thing were to ring. The whole crew would know about it. There goes then. Pardon me in advance. Yo, what are you doing? If we are at sea, that would be very bad problem. What's going on down there? Sergeant Stroganoff, report at once. Sorry, sir, nothing to report. It was just stupid trick. No, not by me, but world fame. No, not as I told you. Now, Sholmes, now. Done. Not even 5 seconds, eh?
Well, don't stand there gawping at my brilliance, Mikotoba. In we go.
Oh, yes. Third of November, SS Gross. First class cabin, number 2. Oh, it's looking great in here.
Good gracious. It would appear that the occupant of this cabin did indeed disembark rather hurriedly.
Clothes on the floor there. They're Seishiro's, without question.
Well, it seems we are just a little too late.
Yes, by about 2 hours.
Still, whilst we're here, we should investigate thoroughly. There may well be 2 hours' worth of clues to find in here.
That burly crewman may return at any moment, Sholmes.
Indeed he may, which makes this all the more thrilling.
Ooh, okay. Well, hang on, we gotta... What's in the trunk if the clothes aren't in there?
That's a very sizable trunk indeed.
Seishiro is partial to all things large.
And a rather clumsy fellow if he failed to notice he'd left that behind.
Perhaps he left it on purpose. It's lighter than you might think, but still a hindrance to a speedy escape.
Pity. It's locked, so we can't look inside.
Surely 5 seconds from now the situation will be quite different, though.
Sadly not. It is a 7-digit combination lock. And I'm not in a morose enough mood to work through all the combinations at present.
Okay, so we gotta find the combination. Oh, what the hell is this? Speaking tube here, look. It's been stoppered with some cloth. The voices of the crewmen on the bridge aren't an annoyance, I suppose.
Or indeed so that the voices in this cabin aren't heard elsewhere.
Could something have happened here that was for no one else's ears, do you think?
Either that, or maybe to prevent snakes from entering.
That's really become a favorite case of yours, hasn't it? See the speckled band. According to the report I was given, Naruhodo was concealing himself in Asogi's wardrobe.
Indeed he was, and it was of a similar size to this one. Ah, you must climb inside yourself, my dear fellow.
What? Whatever for?
It was the site of my first fateful meeting with Mr. Naruhodo. You can experience the moment for yourself now, complete with my dramatic rhetoric. Come along now, when you go, this will only take a moment.
It is, surely you can't just tell me what you said.
Well, I heard some brilliant remark and opened the wardrobe to reveal the stowaway murderer.
I think I'll just read about it in The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes. Okay, what's in the trash? What's in the trash? This is the waste paper basket. Look, and there's still rubbish inside.
Indeed, then let us pry. I've discovered recently I have a penchant for exploring the contents of others' waste paper baskets.
I sincerely hope only for your work.
Ah. Here we have a notice issued to passengers from 3 days ago.
3 days ago, the night before we arrived in London then. I was still aboard myself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ah, yes, there was an evacuation drill. I remember now. For our safety and security, all first-class passengers were constantly under the watchful eye of the crew. It was a welcome relief to have some privacy for once. Okay. That's gonna come in handy. Definitely because of timelines.
Quite the exquisite glass, I must say. See here how it's...
There's a Something wrong, Sholmes? You suddenly trailed off.
Ice, Mikotoba, ice! What opulence the first-class passengers enjoy! Chilled drinks!
Pardon?
Could it be that this steamship is equipped with an electrically refrigerated cold room, do you think?
Well, it is a luxury liner, after all. We have enormous refrigerators restoring all sorts of lavish procedure as well as produce as well as ice. On our voyage from Japan, we enjoyed culinary delights from all over the world.
Suddenly, Mikotoba, the sight of you is making my mouth water.
I haven't taken on the flavor of the food I ate, you know. If it had a refrigerator, that's how they changed the time of death for Gregson. That's important. I would like that to be added to the evidence, actually, but... These are the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Additionally, there are severe punishments for stowing away in wardrobes and other travel cases.
I feel the rules have increased since I last read them. Probably just my imagination.
Not the fact that they're not straight on the wall. Doesn't that strike you?
You may be right. Probably just your imagination, though. A trifle. And you know what I always say, Mikotoba? There is nothing important about trifles.
Probably just my imagination, but I think that might be slightly off. Should I put the pilot introductions in the in-universe chat or out-of-universe chat? I think in-universe chat. It's, you know, kind of makes sense that that's in-universe information. Hey, RSI, how's the case coming along? Well, we kind of hit a sticking point and things aren't going great, but hopefully Sholmes and Mikotoba are about to uncover something that saves my bacon. A reading material to keep passengers occupied on the long sea voyages. Can we get a shout out for RSI, please, by the way? I found the mixture of classical literature and easy reading to be most satisfactory, I must say.
Whoever stocked this bookcase was a hopeless heretic. There's no copy of The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, my dear fellows.
I'm afraid it's just me, but no, you're quite right. More blasphemous than overlooking the Bible.
I shall leave a copy behind. I just happen to have one with me.
You're a true missionary of the Church of Great Detectives, aren't you? Alright, what's on this side? Oops. That's what I want. Oh, well. The wall is slightly different color just there. Do you see?
Indeed. What you observed arises when a frame that has been happening for some time is removed. Perhaps your friend is an art thief.
That is a bold deduction worthy of a great detective, I'm sure.
May very well be an elusive thief who has been plaguing Francis galleries of late.
I think perhaps we should focus our attention somewhere elsewhere, Sholmes, don't you? An outline on the wall. I feel as though I might have spotted something of a similar shape and size elsewhere. Oh, good. Hey, welcome back. You're still here! Hi, Blue Seaman Stroganoff. Hello again.
I was beginning to think you'd never materialize.
You're waiting for me.
Of course, I was expecting you to burst in with a hearty Russian profanity far sooner.
I was in trouble with Captain because of trick you played before. Or this chicken. Chicken? Oh, chicken. Chicken stroganoff. God damn it. Yeah, it's beef and chicken stroganoff. I want to die. In-game. It's all your fault. EP's leaving port soon. Get off, now.
Of course, we shall disembark presently, my dear fellow. But first...
Quick, Mikotoba, say the things you learned in CSGO. Don't do that, I want to get banned.
There is something that must be done.
What are you talking about?
Why, naturally. The debunking of your deceit and the bearing of the truth.
Oh, God. Are we going to do another investigation, deduction? Kakoi!
I'm afraid I see through your lies. For one thing, Mr. Jigoku has not yet left this vessel at all.
Ah.
And for another, my dear Seaman Stroganoff, you know exactly where the man is, even as we speak, don't you?
Oh, how can you? Good gracious, Sholmes, you mean you've worked it out? All of it?
It's really been too long, hasn't it, old friend? 10 years, no less. So, would you care to join me for a dance of my imitable logic and reasoning?
Nothing would please me more. What is this?
Yeah, but minutes until the vessel puts to sea. No games now.
Oh, look at Mikitoba.
Time is of the essence. Mr. Stroganov, allow me to remind you of your earlier claim. You told us that Jigoku left the ship some 2 hours ago.
That is what I said. Be funny, Mikitoba just takes Shoum's deduction seriously and is a serious discussion with him. Maybe.
Sadly, that was a rather clumsy lie. You see, there is something in this room that quite clearly contradicts it.
What?
Ah, yes, of course. I see you've noted it too, Mikitoba. Then please, do take lead. What in this cabin shows the impossibility of Judge Jigoku having disembarked 2 hours ago. Let's see what the last 3 years have done to your observational skills then, Mikitoba.
Oh my god, look at the judge on the jaw on Mikitoba in this 2D art of him. He's got a fucking Chad jaw.
It's been 10 years since we last did this, Sholmes, not 3. Why, of course it has, quite. Now, all the clues are here in this cabin for your eyes to see. But as I always say, you must not merely look, but observe. Observe, and the answers become clear. So, impress me. I think I can manage that.
It's the ice, I think, right? Stop saying things I'm typing before I send them. Hey, it's my brain cell, alright? You just got to borrow it. It's my turn, and it will always be my turn as long as I'm streaming.
Take that!
Ooh, I like his voice acting too. Oh my god. What? What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? Oh, this is phenomenal. Mikitoba, I had no idea you were such a drama queen.
Perhaps you should have cleared away that glass. How curious that the ice shouldn't have melted despite it being abandoned 2 hours ago. It would appear that the man was here in this very cabin until moments before our arrival. With this well-chilled glass in hand. Get your mind off the refreshments, Sholmes. One might even conclude that somebody informed him of our boarding. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Stroganov? But why would Seishiro run from us? Before we consider that question, allow me to confirm one small matter. Would I be correct in saying that these first-class cabins of the SS Grouse are the same ones in which you and Mr. Jigoku were accommodated on your voyage from Japan? That's right, they are. I was in the cabin next door and Seishiro was, 50 days in this very cabin during our voyage. As I suspected. For you see, there are traces in this cabin of a dark secret that Mr. Jigoku had to hide. What traces? I know nothing about this. This is news to you, is it, Mr. Stroganov? Sholmes, what exactly are you getting at? As I said, there are traces in this cabin of some nefarious activity. Something that appears out of place, which I'm quite sure won't have escaped your notice. Something out of place in here. That's the key to this, Mikitoba. The remnants of the dark deed that took place in here are being masked by something quite incongruous. I must say I didn't foresee ever doing this dance of deduction with you again, Miss Mikitoba. Oh, quite. But life is full of unexpected twists and turns, as we well know. Now then, let's see if I can't uncover the truth here. Yes, you have the floor, my dear fellow.
It's the rules of passage.
Take
Got
that!
moved. I like the voice actor for him. Oh, do it again, please. I love that. It's so weird. That's got to be a reference to something. Like, it's just so weird to add out of random. There's got to be some sort of reference being made.
Yes, the rules of passage in this frame here. They're obviously out of place. The way they're hanging crooked on the wall, as if they were put there in a hurry. Yes, as I'm sure you've already concluded. That frame was originally over here. The shape and size are a perfect match.
Ah, you are right. Would that frame move?
Hardly the most observant of crewmen, are you, Mr. Stroganoff? I would think your captain is quite justified in having his reservations about your reliability.
Some Japanese rom-com? Who knows? It might be a reference to the original John Watson. He might have been like a... There might be a reference to him of like he was a tap dancer or capable of tap dancing or something.
Oh dear, that really seemed to touch a nerve. So, Mikotoba, why did you lift that frame off the wall?
Aha!
That looks like a bullet hole. What? Who has been shooting walls? I see, the projectile's been removed. Clearly the careful occupant of this room has already disposed of it.
Maybe I don't have too much time to read, fair enough.
Now then, Mr. Stroganoff. Ugh! I had the distinct impression that you were attempting to shield the said occupant.
I don't know what you're talking about. Why would I try to protect Easton Stranger?
Ah, so we're talking about the same man, I see. Good. I'm sure we can get to the bottom of this in no time, aren't you?
Because there's some... Wait, what? Huh? That sentence doesn't make sense. I'm sure we can get to the bottom of this in no time, aren't you? What?
Because there's some very noteworthy evidence that explains the reason why you're lying for the man. Yes, you've been told to keep up this pretense, as clearly shown by...
I really don't know how to approach this one, Sholmes.
Ah, my dear Mikotoba, simply keep first principles in mind. Study your subject from every angle, and I'm quite sure that you'll see it. In fact, I'd put a wager on it.
I'm to clear the fellow from all sides. Well, I can certainly do that. Aha! He was paid off.
Take that!
I like how chunky arms was an option. So ridiculous. As in, aren't you also ready? He didn't say anything about being ready. Yeah, like this sentence just doesn't make sense. I'm sure we could get to the bottom of this in no time, aren't you? Oh, I'm sure, aren't you? I got it, never mind. Yeah, okay, that absolutely makes sense. Never mind. I don't know why that tripped me up so much. That's very obvious in hindsight.
It's almost too obvious for words. Right, the universal language of the world. Money. And I'd wager that the Eastern fellow in question is Seishido Jigoku, yes? Ah. So, I presume you realize what this means. There are clear signs that a crime has been committed in this cabin. And the way you're going, sir, you'll find yourself accused of being an accomplice.
I like how this implies Sholmes was just checking out his ass. Hey, a pretty good one. This man clearly skips leg day, though. Look at him. But
I believe you know, Mr. Stroganoff. You know where Mr. Jigoku was hiding at this precise moment in time.
Okay, well, he looks right at the fucking case.
As always, Mikotoba, in matters of deduction, the furtive glance is your unfaltering ally.
Yes, I think you're onto something there, Sholmes. You found the chink in this burly fellow's armor.
You need only follow the man's gaze to know where our prey is hiding.
Yeah, he's 100% in the trunk. I knew that right when I saw the clothing was removed from it.
The slightest flicker of the pupils, a minutely delayed blink. Nothing escapes my attention, even that which is barely perceptible.
You can hardly call this barely perceptible, Sholmes. Man's turned his entire head. It's not exactly what you described as a furtive glance, is it? It's almost too obvious.
We shall let your tapping toes decide, my dear fellow.
Oh, there.
Take that!
Kills me every time. Why is it there? It's so weird.
Turned immediately to look at this large trunk, didn't you? Ah, The truth is, Seishiro Jigoku was unable to escape from the ship in time, and is, at this very moment, doing his best to stifle his breath inside this trunk. If he still has a breath to take, I fear he may be running dangerously low on air. I imagine he didn't count on us making a nuisance of ourselves for quite so long. I think it would be in everyone's best interests for us to open the trunk as quickly as possible.
He's turning the dance of deduction into a dance of seduction. Nice.
But how can we? Are you forgetting about the combination lock? We don't know the 7-digit code. The combination lock can't be opened from the inside the trunk. Therefore, there must have been an arrangement for somebody to open it after our departure. Of course. In short, before Jigoku hid himself inside that trunk, he must have told somebody the 7-digit number for the lock.
Oh, is the thing on his arm upside down numbers that spell Shomes when they're the other way? Oh, that's crazy.
As I'm sure you can confirm. As I'm sure you can confirm.
Oh, come on, man.
As I'm sure you can confirm, Mr. Stroganoff.
No. No, I know nothing about combination code.
Don't move a muscle, my good seaman.
Huh.
Now, Mikotoba, would you do the honors and open the trunk? How on earth do you expect me? It's a 7-digit number, remember? Quickly now, we have little time.
Oh shit. Okay, hang on. It's 5231045. 5231045. Oh. Oh, I can drag it. Okay, cool. 5 2 0. Thank you, Toaster. Or Waffle. Fuck. 5231045.
Take that!
I'm not Toaster. I'm on the Waffle account. Smelly. Look, all right. When normally someone puts something in chat that is extremely useful, it's usually Toaster.
I did it. It's open. You had the medal, didn't you? Well, Eugen, you've found me now. Ishido. I was really hoping beyond not to find you here, you know. But you're not entirely unsurprised, I take it. Oh, quite. I just wish it were some other way. Well, are you ever going to introduce me?
It's trying to do a me and fit into places I shouldn't be.
Ah, your reputation precedes you, Mr. Shomes. I've read stories of many of your exploits. Excuse my manners, Shomes. This is Mr. Jigoku, my old friend and traveling companion. The devil is in the details, Mikotoba. I believe you meant to say your old friend and traveling companion, who made the cowardly decision to flee the country without a word to anyone when things turned sour. I see my reputation precedes me as well. What an honor. Well, Seishiro, are you going to explain all this? You know it all by now, I imagine. What you didn't know, of course, is that 3 days ago, on the night before our arrival in Britain, an attempt was made on my life here on this very ship. By the Reaper of the Bailey, yes, I've since heard. Because you were once prosecuted by the Reaper, weren't you? 10 years ago now, mind you. And I had no idea at the time what a dangerous individual he was. Anyway, when we arrived in London to find the symposium was postponed until goodness knows when, it became all too apparent to me that I might very well be targeted again. Who decided to flee the capital without saying a word to me about it? I'm afraid so, yes. Of course, I realize now that I really ought to have confided in you. It's somewhat surprising, I must say. What is? Well, first-class cabins aboard luxury steamships are in very short supply. It's more than a little hard to believe that this one just happened to be available.
So says the protagonist of some colorful short stories. Well, I don't care for your opinion. The cabin did just happen to be available, so I purchased a ticket, and here I am. I've just seen for myself the obvious remnants of that incident in this cabin. You had already purchased your return ticket before we even docked in Dover, had you? Prevent anyone else from taking this cabin and seeing the evidence, is that it? Eugen, I have nothing to say to you.
Well, in a mere 5 minutes, the ship will set off on its onward voyage and not make port again until Italy. I'm afraid we must insist that you disembark with us at once.
You have no jurisdiction over my movements. We have this, Seishiro. Take it. What is it? It's a subpoena from the Old Bailey. You're a man of the law. You know what the ramifications of ignoring a document like this from the British courts would be. You came prepared then, Eugen. Come on, let's go.
One moment.
What is it, Sholmes?
Inside Mr. Jigoku's trunk, I found this rather fascinating trinket.
What is that, Seishiro? I can't help you, I'm afraid. Some small component from something. But what? I have no idea. By the look on his face, I think he genuinely doesn't know.
Well, that is pocketed as a small souvenir of our brief sojourn in France.
That's the top of Gregson's watch.
Well, young Naruhodo, I think we've done as much as we can, I'm afraid. The rest will be on the shoulders of you and your assistant.
Third of November, 12:10 p.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. Kazuma Soki, I know you, and I know you wouldn't lie. Still, there's no doubt that you're holding something back. You know more than you're saying.
During the past 30 minutes while this court was adjourned, all possible efforts were expended. But sadly, Mr. Jigoku's whereabouts could not be ascertained.
Why are a ton of the NPC Elizons when I barely see player Elizons? People don't like the giraffe necks, that's why. We must accept the unfortunate conclusion that the Reaper has already done the deed. There's no sense in wasting any more of the court's time. The prosecution calls for an immediate verdict.
Objection!
No, the trial cannot end now. You're a Japanese man, Ryunosuke. You should know when to lay down your sword. I don't think the Japanese were terribly good at knowing that historically. Just saying. And you should know when never to presume when the battle is won. Bee's Knees was the best thing I've gotten in a game. That's the most popular dance by far. The court has already been presented with all the evidence and heard all relevant testimony. And there can only be one conclusion. That the accused is guilty. All relevant testimony? Far from it. There's still a crucial witness, from whom the court has yet to hear a single word of testimony.
In that case, call your witness to the stand at once, counsel.
Yes, my lord. Tomorrow, if possible.
The witness is already on his way and scheduled to arrive tomorrow.
Who on earth is this crucial witness? Seishiro Jigoku. The very man allegedly murdered by the Reaper. Judge Jigoku, you found him.
But the investigations of every police resource in the capital suggest that Jigoku is already dead. How in the name of God did you find the man?
He was located in France during the recess, at the port of Dunkirk. Thanks to one of Mr. Herlock Sholmes' famous deductions.
Herlock Sholmes.
Inspector Gregson almost certainly met with Mr. Jigoku on the night of his death. Because along with Prosecutor Isogi, Gregson was on a mission to assassinate the man. I have that bitch on speed dial, which means that Seishiro Jigoku is the sole witness who can clarify exactly what happened aboard the SS Gross on the 31st of October.
Well, it would appear that it's too soon to move to education at this point.
The prosecution concurs. The court must hear Mr. Jigoku's testimony. No judgment should be passed until all the testimony has been considered.
In that case, I hereby call the end of today's proceedings. Court will reconvene at the same hour tomorrow. No objections from either side.
No, my lord. No objections, my lord. We live to fight another day. By the skin of our teeth. Woo! That was a nail biter, but we got through. All right. Hell yeah. This final case is turning out to be pretty fucking rad. Very cool so far. A lot of twists and turns. Ooh, look at that. It's got a different different icon. Is that because it's an investigation? That makes sense. All right. Well, that's what we'll wrap it up for Great Ace Attorney today. Made a lot of good progress. Got through a whole first part of that. So, yeah. We'll be back here doing more of this on Friday. Seeing what shenanigans we can get up to at that time. But in any case, YouTube, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And we'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.